coveted gold award from Famitsu, Japan's leading game magazine. From the developers of the international hit Disgaea comes the heart-rending anime coming-of-age story starring a darling 16-year-old demon hunter in need of a serious attitude adjustment. Welcome to the world of La Pucelle Tactics. Journey through a treacherous medieval Europe in this occult tale of betrayal and double-cross. When your smart mouth gets you into trouble, only smarter tactics and a fierce band of allies get you out. La Pucelle Tactics, coming 2004.
Final Fantasy XI, a game so large, so encompassing, so revolutionary that all could not be revealed at once. Last month you learned about the world inside. Now prepare yourself because the time has come to fully unveil Final Fantasy XI and the technology that gives it life.
これ10作以上ファイナルファンタジーシリーズってのは続いてますけど
Well, up to now, we've made 10 games in the Final Fantasy series. With the evolution of the hardware that allow people to play with each other over the internet, you can do something new and take on a new challenge and introduce new ideas into the concept of gameplay.
Up to now, massive multiplayer online games were just basically for PC users, and we wanted the console users, people who play on the PlayStation 2, to enjoy what an MMORPG game is all about.
Each Final Fantasy game has always been a step ahead with an eye towards the future. So it comes as no surprise that Final Fantasy XI is not only the first game to use the new PlayStation 2 hard disk drive, but also the first game to come with it.
With any ongoing world, you will have changes that keep taking place and have the world continue to evolve. In order to keep it fresh for the player, you need a rewritable memory device. So for Final Fantasy XI, we felt we needed to use the new hard disk drive, rather than just making it a packaged game on one DVD that can't ever be changed. We realized that the hard disk drive was essential to really make Final Fantasy XI interesting.
To increase player population and to make the game truly ubiquitous, Final Fantasy XI will be released on both the PlayStation 2 and the PC. Wherever travels and work may take you, Final Fantasy XI will always be within reach.
If you have both the PC version and the PS2 version, you can use the same account on either. So no matter where you log on from, whether it's a net cafe, whether it's from my company PC or at home on the PS2 version, they all can log on to the same information, and basically it's just a different portal to the same world.
Final Fantasy XI was conceived and developed in Japan, but its users in America are as fervently dedicated as those in the game's homeland.
The programmers from the outset had built the game so that US and Japanese players would be able to play in the same world together. Personally, I am very excited, and my other programmers are very excited about the idea of doing this because it's something totally new. And we will strive to keep this interaction going by continuing to make sure that the game runs smoothly for both the Japanese and US audiences.
We've gone to great lengths to keep the Japanese version and the English version exactly the same. So our translators have to translate simultaneously with the teams as they write the Japanese text and keep everything synchronized exactly so that from now on, every time there's an expansion pack added, the release is simultaneous in both the Japanese and US markets.
In this game, where community and communication play defining roles, your success may depend on bridging the language barrier.
For people who don't speak the same language, we strove to add a simple phrasebook dictionary, an automatic translation system where you can type a key phrase, press a key, and the words will appear in the correct language on the other person's screen. So even if you don't know enough of someone's language, you can still communicate with each other. In Final Fantasy XI, rather than just having the chats be plain text on screen, we've added the emotes, which are like emotional movements or reactions that you can do on top of your simple chatting. So for instance, when you say hello to someone, you can choose to add a wave, or you can be formal and add a proper bow.
The ultimate power of the internet ushers in unlimited possibilities of an alternate world where players' interactions extend beyond physical borders, across countries and continents. With Play Online, there are no boundaries.
Play Online will come with every game that we release in the future that will be online on PlayStation 2, just to enable people to communicate with each other. The concept of Play Online was a gathering place for a little town. So what is in there is a chat system and a messaging system. And even if they're inside different games, you can send short messages to them to say that you're online or that you'll soon be joining them.
So the Play Online system is all about sharing and messaging, like having a friend list that you can use to talk and communicate with people.
As the game progresses, time carries on and the world changes. But don't worry, you won't be left behind.
Final Fantasy XI will have content that's downloaded by the user about every 2 months. There'll be new quests, new missions, some adjustments to the game, maybe tweak something up, tweak something down to make everything feel more balanced. It'll be an automatic download once you log into the Final Fantasy.
No bounds, no limits. As the audience and its world grows and expands, technology leads the way.
Basically, about 1 million characters have been created, and over 100,000 people are playing at any given time. Of course, this is by no means the limitation of the hardware. We're always working on increasing the size cap for each server so more people can play together.
Even in this vast RPG universe, friends can meet and play together in the same online environment. With a World Pass, you're in control.
Final Fantasy XI utilizes the World Pass system. If you have friends in the real world or other friends that you've met online that you want to play together with, then you buy a World Pass. It's actually inside the game, but you speak to a non-player character who would actually sell and issue these special passwords to you. Then you just give this password to your friend and get them to input it when they create a character, which allows them to enter that world server.
There is still one crucial element breathing life into this game. You cannot see it, yet it affects the tone and mood and very essence of Final Fantasy XI as profoundly as anything else, the soundtrack.
My approach to creating the music for this online community and game was to find the right balance. Because there are all kinds of people from different backgrounds, different cultures, and different worlds, I wanted to be fair to everyone who is living and breathing and listening to the music. That is the one thing for this game that I am most proud of. The music can be listened to and appreciated by all gamers.
もともとゲーム音楽っていうのはそのゲームの画面ありき、中身ありきの
Generally speaking, with video game music you have this visual thing in front of you, and I guess you try to match up the music so that it fits the color and the personality of the game itself. But for Final Fantasy XI, since this is a world that exists online, I brought myself inside as if I was one of the party members living in Vanadil, and I looked at the kinds of music or sound I would be hearing as a person who is actually living there.
が聴いても違和感がないような曲ってのを
This being Final Fantasy, I wanted to make sure that our gamers who have followed the series would not be put in a position where they felt uncomfortable by a different style of music. I wanted to somehow maintain the styles already known and have the music be borderless, free of country lines and languages.
Final Fantasy XI has redefined the RPG genre and opened an entirely new realm in video gaming possibilities. Online play, transoceanic gamers, a transcending soundtrack, and updating features that continually present new material. With this game, technology has been seized and a new pinnacle has been reached.
It's time to take you behind the scenes of the making of the Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup video game. So, where do we start? We tracked down some of the high-flying team to discover some of their secrets.
I think the most challenging thing for us when we were making the game was taking a game which only exists in books in the Harry Potter world and translating that into a video game.
Quidditch is like 3 sports. It's ice hockey, basketball and football. It's the speed and the physical nature of ice hockey.
Basketball, where it's fast end-to-end action.
Soccer, because of the complexities of the game.
It's got that kind of dynamic speed, so I'd compare it to maybe one of the extreme sports, maybe like snowboarding.
It differs from normal sports games in that it's actually a magical sports game. It plays on broomsticks and it's played in 3 dimensions.
Surely we've seen Quidditch played before.
In previous games, you've played one small element. You've played Harry Potter catching the snitch. In Harry Potter Quidditch World Cup, it's a complete Quidditch experience.
Getting to experience chasers, beaters, seekers, and also the keepers. You get the whole thing.
This is a completely different challenge for us, making the game.
The making of the game became more complex when the designers took the game to the next level, the international arena.
Once you've won the tickets to the World Cup, you start to play at an international level.
This is where the pros come out to play.
Now we know how to play, we can explore just how difficult it was to bring the game to life. Each object in the game was first constructed out of a kind of 3D wire mesh.
All of these things are basically created with triangles or polygons. It's kind of think of it like papier-mâché. You've got the chicken wire, it's the framework that creates the body of the player or the sides of the building.
Let's take a closer look at the players and where they play. There are 9 different international stadiums.
The way we kind of went about creating all the different styles for the stadium was just going backwards and forwards, lots of concept works, lots of drawings that we threw away.
And what about the players?
Obviously Quidditch isn't a real game, but if it was, it's supposed to be set now. The teams are current, so although the uniforms are traditional, they have lots of modern elements to them.
Within the game, all the teams do play really, really differently. You've got the Japanese team, they're a real flair team, use a lot of combination moves.
The French, their special moves were very kind of flamboyant and elegant, whereas the Nordic ones were much more kind of brutal.
Once the animators have got the game looking right, the audio designers get together to make the sound work alongside the visuals.
The broom sounds we use are somewhere between a howling wind and a jet engine. They're quite a natural sort of sound, but very, very energetic.
So, to sum it up, only one question remains.
So what's it like to ride a broom?
Sitting on top of a jet aircraft, travelling at 500 miles an hour.
I'd love to ride a broom, I think it'd be great.
EA Games.
Challenge everything.
What was once solely a professional communications device has grown into a peripheral that is finding a growing number of uses in many fields, especially in the world of video gaming. The headset enables players to be more immersed and involved while keeping those hands free.
The development of a USB headset for PlayStation 2 really came from the need in SOCOM.
We really were looking for something dynamic, people to connect, talk to each other, and be able to have that sense of community.
SOCOM was the first game to include voice on PlayStation, and it wasn't just doing voice chat, it was also doing voice recognition, which was quite a key feature set for the game.
It allowed you to get in there and give your teammates commands, allowed you to interact with the game. Instead of just sending text messages, you can talk to other people, you can communicate with them and create team strategies.
We also added in a single player component that allowed you to have voice recognition capabilities as well.
Headsets can do a lot for your skill set as well. But first you need to know how to get hooked up.
And with the USB headset or with the SOCOM headset, all you have to do is plug it into the console and you're really good to go.
We have software which will either recognize the input that you're saying, or it will take your voice and compress it down to something which can be sent over to the internet and heard by people on the other side.
No matter how you speak, no matter which way you want to talk, as long as you don't whisper, it'll pick up your voice very, very easily, and it'll work within the game set very well.
From an anthropological perspective, the new USB headset for PlayStation 2 is simply an extension of man's desire to communicate. From a gaming standpoint, it's about precision and control.
Speech is man's oldest form of communication, and so it really makes a lot of sense to bring that as another way of interacting with games.
The wide variety of genres that we do have on the PlayStation 2 console, and there are a lot of games coming out that are going to utilize the headset. It's really something that's caught on, and I think a lot of it's attributable to the success of SOCOM and really the unveiling of this community aspect.
In their quest to help players reach out and touch someone, Logitech and Sony teamed up to create a new and improved version of the headset.
Working with Sony on this process was great, bringing out the new headset.
It has a built-in volume control on the cord, so you can adjust it. It also has a mute button. If you need a moment of privacy in certain games, you can just hit the mute button and then no one else will hear you talking. The boom mic's a little more comfortable. So it really takes all the advantages of the SOCOM headset and adds on top of that, creates a better package.
If you're a SOCOM owner and you own the SOCOM headset, it will be usable with all headset-compatible titles from now on, as will the USB headset that we are launching right now. There are a lot of action games out there, and this is something that I think really put it, one step above.
Using a USB headset and voice recognition really allowed us to do something which had never been done before.
Really, the doors have just opened now in terms of what can be done with headsets and voice in video games.
If you want a good look at what's behind that door, check out the demo on this month's disc for a video game that uses the headset as the primary controller. If you want to survive in Lifeline, you need to make yourself perfectly clear.
Lifeline takes place in the near future. You are aboard a space station hotel. A big explosion rocks the place. Monsters come in out of nowhere, start eating and attacking the guests. You're in a control room and you're trapped. And you notice someone making a distress call from the security room. So you flip on the monitor and there's the character Rio, who actually becomes the main character for the entire game.
But Rio needs your help to navigate through the station, and you guide her efforts by talking to her.
You're going to get into situations with Rio, the main character, and you're going to have to talk to her. She needs your guidance, and you know things that she won't know. You have to tell her if someone's behind her. You have access to cameras around the space station. She doesn't.
You now have a need to know. The more efficient you are at commanding Rio, the better off you'll be at playing Lifeline. You'll discover certain phrases and keywords will speed your search.
Keywords are the main driving force of Rio. If you've discovered something by maybe telling Rio, maybe you never knew that she could dodge, but you tell her to dodge in combat, and she does it. In Lifeline, a fast talker might get through the game a little quicker, but the real key to finishing the game successfully is to know what to say and when, and that requires you to think before you speak.
This immersive game about a future world articulates what's happening in the present video gaming world.
This is the only game in North America that is controlled primarily through the microphone headset. And right there, that opens up a whole realm of possibilities.
It's all of these possibilities that make the advent of the new USB headset for PlayStation 2 a defining marker in the evolution of gaming technology.
It could be used for karaoke type games, could be used for strategy games. It really has a pretty broad potential for what you can do with it.
Rather than just sort of sitting back with your thumbs on a game controller, now you can really interact with people directly.
It actually offers you, I think, the opportunity to interact a lot more with the game. You become more one with the game rather than just kind of controlling it.
For one thing, it inspires game creators to go take a chance.
Gran Turismo. You know the name and the game. Look for this special section in upcoming discs to get the latest details on the next chapter, GT4. We'll have interviews with the creator of the franchise, Kazunori Yamauchi, as well as the crew from Polyphony Digital, and the inside scoop on the latest cars, courses, and new features of Gran Turismo 4. Track GT4, here next month.